First things first, I'm absolutely overjoyed at the way India's girls have played at the Women's World T20. I've always maintained that the moment India's audiences start looking on the women's game as different from the men's game, just as Serena is different from Federer, then we will allow ourselves to see the enormous skills that reside there and what skills we've been seeing from the Indian girls. Did I expect them to make the semi-final? I must confess I was a little wary because I knew it was going to be a three-way contest between India, Australia and New Zealand. And the last couple of times I'd seen New Zealand, I just thought maybe they were a little too strong, a little too powerful. Over 50 overs, maybe India have always got the opportunity, but over 20 overs, can India have the power game? And the way India played against New Zealand just confirmed what we've suspected all along, that India are making what I thought was the difficult but increasingly easy transition into moving from a touch game into a power game. Smriti Mandhana, of course, combines the best of both, but how good was Harmanpreet? In that game against New Zealand, when India needed to make a statement up front, Harmanpreet was there, and a century in a T20 game. I was interested in seeing whether Harmanpreet hit small sixes because they bring the boundaries in ridiculously. The odd one was there, but you can say she went for it because the boundary was in, but those sixes are huge. And it leads me to believe that the more spin there is, the better India will be. Not just because Mithali and Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet, and what about young Jemimah Rodrigues, who's been wonderful. Those four will come to the party. Those four are as good as any top four in the world game. And yet if India have to reach 160, which I still think is a very good score on those slowish tracks, then either Smriti Mandhana or Harmanpreet Kaur have to bear all the way through. One of them has to produce the big innings because Mithali will be excellent in producing a sort of 45-50 ball, 60. Jemimah Rodrigues is that kind of player, but one of Smriti Mandhana or Harmanpreet Kaur have to go and play the big innings. But the moment the surface is slow, we'll have to wait and see. If the surface in Antigua starts to resemble the surface in Guyana, which grew a little more tired as the tournament went along, then India will back themselves enormously in this semi-final. Look at the way Deepti Sharma has been bowling and Poonam Yadav. You know, actually, they remind me a lot of the way the Indian coach used to bowl. If some of you watch Ramesh Powar bowl, and a lot of people who played in their generation thought he was among the finest off-spinners of his era, but he did everything in the air and then he beat you in the air. And Poonam Yadav does that with the leg spin, and Deepti Sharma and Radha Yadav, and they're all of a similar genre, and that's been fun to watch. So my feeling is that the slower the track, the better it will be for India, because it will tend to negate what England are doing and give India a magnificent opportunity of saying, you know what, that 50-over World Cup that caught all our attention, this is our chance to make the final of the Women's T20. But irrespective of whether India make that final, India's girls have already sent a message. The Mandhanas, the Mithalis, the Harmanpreets, even the spinners, they've sent the message out to the small towns in India, sending a message to all the girls in India saying, get out and play cricket and you can make it on the big stage. So all the best to the Indian girls. As I said, slow surface, I'm backing India to make the final. But now that you're in the last four, it's what happens on the day. As I said, that the numbers in the past, whenever India have been unbeaten going into a World Championship semi-final, whether it was the men's game in 2014 or 2015, India didn't qualify. The two previous occasions, India were in the semi-final of the Women's World T20, they didn't make it. But I want to look at a different stat. India have won their last 7 T20 games, and I just sense there is an air about this Indian team that makes me a touch optimistic.